Hey guys, so the other day in my medical assistant group on Facebook that I'm a member of, it's not my group or anything, someone had asked this question and I took a screenshot of it because I think it would bring up a pretty good discussion. And it has to do with jobs. And she asked, is pay more important at a job or is mental peace more important? And she said, I'm caught in between a decision. So I think that obviously pay is important. Nobody works for free, and I feel like you should get paid, you know, a wage that matches the work that you are doing because like CNAs, I've heard of CNAs getting paid like $8 in certain states, and for the amount of work that CNAs have to do, $8 does not cut it. So while I do think pay is important and you should get paid a wage that represents the level of work that you're doing, and the amount of work that you're doing, and how dangerous that work can be, how physical that work is, et cetera, et cetera. I do think that if you're going into a place of business where you are, especially in healthcare, when you are providing care for patients, I think it's important that you're also mentally aware of, how you're feeling, and you're not just like pushing yourself to go to work at a place where you hate it, because it does come across in your patient care if you're not happy at your job. I know a lot of people, they work because they have to, as far as like, they're keeping a job that they hate just because they need the money to pay their bills and stuff like that. And yes, I totally understand that. And obviously that makes sense. However, if you had the opportunity to leave a job that you hate to get a job that brings you like a peace of mind and you're not so stressed out every day that you're going into work, I think that that also makes a difference, because then I feel like the quality of your work would be a higher level also. And I'm sorry for Caesar, he won't shut up today. He's very grumbly. But what do you guys think? I mean, like I said, I do think it's important to, make sure that you like what you're doing, because how good of an employee are you going to be if you just hate what you're doing? And especially, like I said, when you're dealing with patient care, patients are going to notice if you come in with a bad attitude, or you come in and you're just like angry all the time. And I think that a lot of people get into healthcare because they think that it's going to pay a lot of money. And oftentimes, like especially with the entry level positions like phlebotomy, medical assisting, CNA, stuff like that, you're not getting paid what you deserve. And a lot of times, companies pay the bare minimum that they have to. Um, but I do think that it's important to look for a place that actually values you as an employee and doesn't just take you for granted, because I do plan on making a video about this in the future, but I have worked at facilities before where they have literally fired me because I was in the hospital, because she had asked me to come into work, the DON, and I couldn't because I was in the hospital, and they knew that I was in the hospital, and she said, well, either you come into work or we have to fire you. And like I literally was in the hospital because I just had a mini stroke. And if you guys are interested in hearing more about that story, I do plan on eventually filming a video talking about that. Because a lot of these facilities, they just want warm bodies. They want people that are going to be there, pick up whenever they ask them to, and they take advantage of people. And obviously, especially during COVID, people were picking up extra hours. They were doing these crisis contracts and things like that. But you have to really think about if what you're doing is worth your mental peace, your sanity, your livelihood, because what good are you going to be if you like burn yourself out, or you work so much that you are like me and end up in the ICU for 7 days, if you end up in the psych unit because you just can't handle the stress anymore and you don't have the ability to cope because you've used all your coping skills just going to work on a daily basis. You have to think about things like that. I honestly feel like part of that work burden is what killed my cousin. She was younger than me. She was in her 20s when she died. She was a nurse practitioner student and she was an RN. at the time, and she worked nights, and one morning her husband, you know, was looking for her. She never got up, and he went into their bedroom and found her dead. And I think that, I mean, I don't know what the situation was. I don't know if she had been working overtime or anything like that. But healthcare is a stressful thing, and you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And you need to make sure that you're working for an employer, like I said, who values you and the work that you bring to the table. Um, if you constantly are being asked to cover shifts and you're someone who has a problem saying no, like me, you need to learn how to say no. You need to make sure that you're prioritizing yourself because, like I said, these facilities, they don't care. Um, you know, you could die one day and the next day they have somebody covering your shift already, or they hire somebody else in your spot. Um, so you just have to think about like what your priorities are. And even though the pay may look, appealing, obviously, because if you work overtime, you get more money. The money isn't everything. The money is not worth losing your life over. It's not worth losing your happiness over. And it's definitely not worth losing your family because if you die, you lose your family. A lot of people get divorced, in the healthcare world because of how many hours that people work, the weird hours that people work, the long hours that people work. The fact that healthcare doesn't get like holidays and stuff off for the most part, unless you work in a clinic. But I don't know. What do you think? To you, is pay more important or is your mental health more important when it comes to your job? And if you were working at a job where you felt like you were kind of starting to go a little crazy, what would you do? Would you leave the job, or would you like stay and wait and hope and pray that you could find something better? Anyways, I'm sorry for Caesar whining like he was. Hopefully that wasn't too distracting. It kind of got my mind a little jumbled. So sorry for any rambling, but with that being said, that's all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys in my next video.